Hello guys, my name is Mateo Reynes.
I'm Dylan Freeman.
I'm Nick Kennealy.
And we are here, we're back for the weekly assist with Mateo, Nick, and Dylan. We're going to start off with some headlines for the NFL, college, whatever. First headline is Tua Tagovailoa has committed to the NFL draft. A lot of people, including myself, thought that he was going to stay at Alabama, but he decided that he is going to be a Miami Dolphin next year. Another thing is basketball things happened. Zion Williamson, the number 1 overall pick, has said he is now doing 5-on-5 drills, so that is good progress. Anthony Davis got hurt last night, but is expected to be back and healthy. Blake Griffin had a knee surgery and is out indefinitely. Joel Embiid had a nasty finger injury, and he's out today at least, but he came back in the game when it happened. Steve Kerr got a $25,000 fine for yelling at the refs and saying some explicities. And the biggest headline that I thought was that the Lakers are listening to offers on Kyle Kuzma. That was very surprising for me because I thought he was going to be a building block for them. In the MLB, the Red Sox have some cheating rumors, and Nolan Arenado is on the trade block, which is very surprising. More NFL is Kwon Alexander is expected to be back from an injury for the NFL 49ers, and Jay Ajayi signed with the Philadelphia Union, the MLS esports team, for FIFA. So, looks like he's enjoying retirement now. He's probably not even retired, but that is all.
Soon to be.
Now we are going to go into last week of the NFL. We did not make picks because we were gone for a couple weeks, but it was playoffs.
Beautiful wild card.
You can start off talking about the Bills and Texans. You can get into that, Dylan.
We'll start with the Bills and the Texans, where we'll start at an odd place, which is halftime, and I'll tell you exactly what happened at halftime in the locker rooms. I know no one saw this, but I was there exclusively. I saw every single player, including the coaches, Sean McDermott, in the Bills locker room. They walked over to the Texans locker room and handed them the game. After going up 13-0 in halftime, the Bills lost to the Texans in overtime in a very nail-biting game.
Yeah, that was crazy. The Bills were up 16-0 and blew it. One thing I did notice especially was that, Josh Allen, he was trying to do way too much. Did you catch that weird lateral pass that he was trying to do?
That
wasn't they were up with a lead and he was trying to do way too much. He didn't really blow the game, but they couldn't finish drives in the second half. And Deshaun Watson played amazing. The one thing that everyone was going to take it away from it is that big evasion of the sack where he came out and threw it for a first down on third down, setting up the game-winning field goal. But literally, the second half, he played amazing, contributing to all their touchdowns.
Yeah, the one concern with Josh Allen going into this game, although he has improved from this season to last season, people feel that it might have been too much. The moment might have been too much for him. It was his first ever playoff game. It was a big wild card game. And I don't know that the moment exactly proved to be too much, but there were times where I was questioning his decision-making, and he just wasn't able to keep the foot on the gas pedal for the entirety of the game.
Yeah, it not only seemed like at the end his decision-making went down, the defense was just pressuring the offensive line all the time. I mean, the last 4 plays of their second-last drive had heavy pressure by the defense. It was a forced incompletion. Singletary got stuffed, a weird intentional grounding call, and then a big old sack on 4th down to send them all the way back.
Yeah, one thing is J.J. Watt did come back from the torn pectoral injury, and the ESPN crew was hyping him up the whole game. All he really had is a sack and a couple tackles, but that is a positive sign for Kwon Alexander, who suffered the same injury around the same time and could be back for the playoffs. All right, the next game was Titans versus Patriots. The end of the dynasty is what many are thinking, because the Patriots lost to Ryan Tannehill, who threw around 70 yards, touchdown, and an interception. And that's why I'm saying it wasn't really a loss to Ryan Tannehill. It was a loss to Derrick Henry. My goodness. Derrick Henry was a beast. At one time, he was averaging around 9 yards per carry. In this game, he ran for 182 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 5.4 yards per carry, and he also had a reception for 22 yards. He was the Tennessee Titans, Mr. Tractorcito himself, and he was unbelievable.
There's many times where it seems like the Titans, or some may say the Titans, are leaning too heavily on Derrick Henry in that run game. But if it works, don't go away from it. Tannehill only threw 15 passes, and it was enough to beat the Patriots. The Titans knew that the Patriots weren't going to be able to do much on offense, so they fed the beast that is Derrick Henry. When we're talking about the Patriots offense, there were two key moments that I think lost the game for the Patriots. First and goal, they ran it up the middle three times. 3 times. They didn't even give Brady a chance to do anything, and they got stuffed, didn't get anything. And that Edelman drop on 3rd down, that was a huge drop. I thought maybe they'd go for it on 4th down at that point. It was about 4th and 6, but they just didn't do it. And some teams, at the beginning of the season, they're seen with teams that have so much potential, and they're not playing to the potential that they have. But at some point, you are what you are, and the Patriots, the concern for them has been the offense, and that was really what it is. The defense really faltered towards the end of the season, and it's sad to see this happen, but it's a little bittersweet. I like it a little bit to see the Patriots fall.
The one thing that you're just bringing up with the 1st and goal on the one instance is that is the 13th playoff time that in the Tom Brady era with the Patriots that they've had the ball 1st and goal on the one, and the first time they have not scored a touchdown.
Wow.
That was just crazy. And as I said, Ryan Tannehill, did not even play very well. He threw an interception. It was against the best defense pretty much of the regular season. He didn't have to do too much because Mike Vrabel did the coaching right decision with just handing it to the beast.
Yeah, another thing about Derrick Henry, he had 182 rushing yards and a touchdown, which, fun fact, was the 15th most rushing yards in a single playoff game in NFL history. Some great company on that list, like Eric Dickerson. So yeah, Derrick Henry was the entirety of that Titans offense, as everyone could tell.
Yeah, and that is the most rushing yards against a Bill Belichick's led playoff team in his career. So Derrick Henry had an absurd game. Just went crazy, and it contributed to the upset in Foxborough.
Yeah, definitely the biggest story is what's next for the Patriots. What's next? Is it the fall of the Brady dynasty? Is it the end of the Brady-Belichick time in New England? I'm not necessarily in a place to say that. If I was Tom Brady, well, I wouldn't say this. I think Tom Brady should leave. I think he should go to a place where there's more talent around him. I know the organization of the Patriots is strong and works well for Tom Brady. But I like to relate it to the Golden State Warriors losing to the Raptors in the finals, which you Warriors fans here sitting next to me know very much about. Warriors fans were saying, oh man, they're going to be so happy. They're all going to get back together and prove that they still have more left. And what happened? KD left. A different sport, different situation, but I don't know what's going to happen with Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, for that matter, next year with the Patriots.
In the start of the NFC playoff round, the Vikings played the Saints, and the Vikings came into the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and stole the next round exit from the Saints.
As a podcast that is skeptical of Kirk Cousins, we would all like to congratulate you on finally winning your game. Good job, Kirk. Good job, Kirk.
He won a big game.
Yeah, and he really did actually outplay Drew Brees, which was kind of surprising for this game. Dalvin Cook played very well as well. Stephon Diggs only caught 2 passes and was quite angry about that on the sideline. But besides that, it was a very good day for these Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, as you just touched on, Diggs was only targeted 3 times in this game. So I thought that was ridiculous because Adam Thielen was out there dropping passes. And he did end up with a good stat line. But it was Kirk Cousins' first career playoff game. Hopefully for the man, first of many. But as you said, Brees did not play well. He had 2 turnovers. One was a heaving interception that he just tried to throw up to Ted Ginn Jr., the 49ers alumni, which did not turn out very well. He threw it into double coverage, and he was also strip sacked. So it was not a good game for Brees. After he looked to be playing unbelievable in the regular season circuit, he definitely didn't there. But Cousins did play well, and so did Dalvin Cook. Him and Derrick Henry were the best running backs of the weekend by far. Dalvin Cook ran for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also caught 3 passes for 36 yards, so that was very good for them. But it was pretty shocking because especially the high-powered New Orleans offense was not playing high-powered. And their biggest playmaker of the game was Taysom Hill. He threw 1 pass for 50 yards. He ran for 50 yards. He made a key block on a Alvin Kamara touchdown. And he caught 2 passes for 25 yards and a touchdown.
Weird first minute for the game, actually. Adam Thielen for the Vikings fumbled the ball in a first down pickup and gave the ball to the Saints at around the 35. The Saints ended up tacking on 3 points after a 3rd and goal sack. But if you get the ball at that field position, I feel like you have to get a touchdown at that point, especially with the Saints offense. I feel like if they got the touchdown there, that would have been a huge momentum boost at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, they didn't really target Michael Thomas enough. I thought they should have given it to him more. He only had 70 yards, averaged 10 yards per catch. But yeah, Diggs and Kamara were pretty much absent besides Kamara's touchdown, which was good. But it was very, very surprising.
Yeah, coming out of New Orleans for sure, especially from New Orleans media and fans, and many NFL fans for that matter, is the last play of the game. The goal line fade by Kyle Rudolph, tight end of the Minnesota Vikings, thrown to by Kirk Cousins, and many believe that catch was attributed to a push-off by Kyle Rudolph. Saints fans have seen this before, and they're angered, and they're saying, this is why we lost. This really did feel like the year for the Saints to go far in the playoffs, and I really don't think that was pass interference, offensive pass interference. I think it was just classic hand fighting, but, it's something for Saints fans to talk about.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. I don't think it was offensive pass interference, but in the words of the very wise man, Zach Schaumler, one play doesn't make the difference. It's a collection of the whole game. So if they really deserved to win that game, they should have been up by 30 and not been in overtime.
Beautiful.
The next game, Seahawks versus Eagles, and Josh McCown kept the Eagles in the game. He actually did. He did not play horrible. He was the oldest quarterback to make his playoff debut at 40 years old, and he did not play horrible. He was sacked 6 times.
Nice.
And he did blow it a couple times when he thought, oh, look, it's a wide open end zone. Let's run. Oh, I'm 40 years old. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. So, yeah, he threw for 100. He had a good completion percentage, 75%. Threw for 172 yards, but that was a big downer. But the best player in this game was DK Metcalf.
Oh, my goodness.
He went crazy. After he fell as the last wide receiver chosen in the 2nd round, originally coming out of the combine, everyone's like, oh, he's a top 10 pick. Look at his workout pictures. But everyone said, oh, he can't run routes. He can't do anything. He can go up and get the ball. He caught for 7 passes, 160 yards, and a touchdown. And now he's a franchise leader for receiving yards in the game for the Seahawks. And it was a great help to the Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I kept hearing all the announcers saying, oh, yeah, DK Metcalf, he's now become a complete wide receiver. I think that's not necessarily the case. The reason that Metcalf has been this productive is not only his work ethic and his ability to just go up and catch a ball and be stronger than any corner he's going against. I think the Seattle Seahawks organization and team, Pete Carroll and Brian Schottenheimer, have really utilized his abilities well, not asking him to do too much, just do what he's good at. And I'd like to talk about how Josh McCown exactly got onto the field because obviously he's not the starting quarterback.
He was not starting.
After only attempting 4 passes, Carson Wentz was hit after sliding by Jadeveon Clowney. Many, including myself, think it was a dirty hit. If you really watch the video in slow motion, he lowers his head. Jadeveon Clowney, that is. I know Carson Wentz was sliding and he was going to make a tackle. I don't know the intentions of Jadeveon Clowney, but that's really a killer for Philadelphia fans who finally thought they'd get to see Carson Wentz play in the playoffs.
Yeah, Carson Wentz has been had real troubles with injuries in his career. He's had 4 seasons. He's only played all 16 games in 2 of them. And although his team did win a Super Bowl while he was on the team and he was the starting quarterback, this was his first career playoff start, and it's gotta hurt because he has the work ethic. He wants to be out there, but he always seems to have the major injury bug. Something funny that came out of this game is that the Seahawks beat the Eagles 17-9 on November 24th of 2019. And in this one, they won 17-9, so that was pretty comical and funny. All right, guys, the next segment is I came up with this idea that we
Props
should
to
do
you.
a decade draft. We should go through because it is the end of the decade. This is the first podcast of 2020 in the next decade. We should go through every draft since 2010 and choose which quarterback that we would choose out of the drafts. It can't be undrafted players. It has to be people that have been drafted, and we'll rotate each one of it. We'll all say our picks, but each one of us will start with who they pick, so it doesn't look like we're all copying one person. I'll start off with 2010. 2010 was a pretty notoriously bad quarterback draft. The top quarterbacks were Colt McCoy, Sam Bradford, who was the number 1 overall pick, and he won Rookie of the Year. He had a very bright future right then, but then he had so many issues with injury, and Jimmy Clausen. My pick was Tim Tebow because he is the only one out of these people to win a playoff game, and although he didn't have a great career, he had the power behind him, and he was all the rage during his time, and he was the most searched person on Google after his playoff win. And yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, I definitely understand your argument for Tebow, especially the playoff win. I just don't think he's that complete of a quarterback. And if we're starting over completely, starting a new franchise with a quarterback, which is, I believe, what this segment is really about, Sam Bradford had that great rookie year. And if he's just able to be healthy, I think he's my pick for 2010.
If we're taking away from Tim Tebow's, kind of short-ended career, I feel like he really had the potential to have a better career if he had a better career. I'd have to pick Tim Tebow out of the bunch.
Next, we have the 2011 draft class. Tyrod Taylor was in this class, Colin Kaepernick. And I was thinking about Colin Kaepernick maybe, but my pick here is Cam Newton of the Carolina Panthers.
So, Cam Newton would be the logical pick in that sense, but I got to go with my boy Blaine Gabbert.
All right, my pick would be Cam Newton. Looking back on the resumes, it's funny because Kaepernick and Cam Newton both brought their teams to the Super Bowl, and they won they lost the Super Bowl. Yeah, they both lost the Super Bowl. But I think Cam Newton would be better because he's still in the NFL, and that's who I would choose.
In the 2012 draft, I do have to go with Russell Wilson. There's some decent names up there. There's some better names than not, but Russell Wilson is the prominent figure in that draft.
Yeah, I'm going with Russell Wilson too. I'm pretty sure that's who we'll all pick. But Ryan Tannehill, looking back, now he looks like the second best if you were going to go back because Andrew Luck's out of the league. RG3 possibly, Kirk Cousins on a playoff team, but Ryan Tannehill is pretty hard right now. But it's definitely Russell Wilson.
I'm very torn. I'm a big Andrew Luck guy, but I love Russell Wilson. I think if I'm picking any quarterback out of the entire league at this point, I am picking Russell Wilson to be my franchise quarterback. So I am picking him here in 2012.
In 2013, it was a notoriously horrible draft class for quarterbacks. The quarterbacks that were available were like E.J. Manuel was the only first-round quarterback. There's Geno Smith, Mike Glennon, Matt Barkley, Ryan Nassib, and Landry Jones. I'd have to say Mike Glennon because he had the most success out of everyone. Maybe going back, Geno Smith or E.J. Manuel could have had a better career if they were on different teams, but I'm going to go with Mike Glennon.
I would rather pick nobody in this draft class, but if I have to pick solely based on my fandom to the University of Southern California, USC, I am choosing Matt Barkley.
And the 49ers did give him a 2-year, $4 million contract, so yeah.
Yeah, like Dylan said, I would not pick anybody. I'd honestly put myself in over them. Not really, though. But I got to go with Geno Smith. I feel like if he had a decent team, he could have gone a little bit in his career.
All right, in 2014, we had the GOAT Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater, and Derek Carr. But I have to go with the man, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, this is obvious. I'm picking Jimmy Garoppolo, really, even if I'm not a 49ers fan, I think maybe the second closest is probably Derek Carr, and that was probably the consensus pick until Jimmy Garoppolo had arrived in the scene, but I'm definitely picking Jimmy G.
My second would probably be Teddy Bridgewater, but that's my opinion.
At this point, yeah.
Well, my first would be Johnny Take My Money Manziel, I really want to build a franchise around that, level, very, very football IQ guy.
And in 2015, in a two-headed monster of a draft class, I already know who Mateo's picking here. Everyone knows this. It was coming. But I'm taking 30 for 30, Jameis Winston, solely based on the fact that I cannot make Mateo happy by picking Marcus Mariota.
I also have to go with Jameis Winston because I knew Mateo would. He's going to defend him. He's going to defend him a lot here. But even with interceptions, Marcus Mariota hasn't put up the amount of numbers that.
One's a starting quarterback.
Well, yeah. Well, when he was, starter.
Well, I'd have to say Marcus Mariota because Marcus Mariota has brought his team to 2 playoffs. He has a playoff win. Jameis Winston has no playoff wins, and I think even if you're redrafting, Marcus Mariota is going to get a second chance next year, and if that might be just the same as restarting and choosing a franchise quarterback. And I think he has success left in the tank for a future in the NFL.
Yeah, for all I rag on Marcus Mariota, I like the guy, and I think this is close. But I'm picking Winston. I like Mariota, and I hope he gets a chance on a different team next year.
2016 draft, there's some good picks in there. Number 1 pick Jared Goff. Number 2 pick Carson Wentz. But I'm going to hippity hop on down to pick number 135, wedged right between Kenneth Dixon and Devontae Booker. I'm taking Dak Attack Prescott.
I'd go with Jared Goff. I think he has the intangibles. He's already brought his team to the Super Bowl, and I think he is the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, Jared Goff really relies on Sean McVay. He has no vision of a defense. He can't read a defense. And I like this because we're all taking different picks. I'm taking Carson Wentz. I'm a really big Carson Wentz guy. Without the injuries, we're starting over. He had an amazing rookie season, as we actually mentioned before. And he's a great improviser, and I really like Carson Wentz.
2017 NFL draft, the infamous Mitch Trubisky before Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson pick. Some of the other quarterbacks were Deshaun Kaiser and C.J. Beathard and Nathan Peterman.
Woo!
But you have to go with Patrick Mahomes in this one.
You don't. And I'm not going
Deshaun
to.
Watson?
I'm going to pick Deshaun Watson. It's close, of course. Patrick Mahomes has all the arm talent. I think Deshaun Watson's arm talent has really improved since college. I used to joke that he had a noodle arm there at Clemson, but he's really gotten better since being on the Texans. If he had a real O-line, it'd be a lot easier, but his improvisational skills are just amazing. I am picking Deshaun Watson. It is close between Deshaun and Patrick Mahomes.
I'm picking Patrick Mahomes on this one. I mean, the reigning MVP, his improvisation skills are pretty keen, as I would say. He just has the finesse that I would look for if I were to build my own franchise.
And in 2018, where the most slept-on quarterback and this year's MVP was taken by the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, of course, we're talking about. That's the obvious pick. I'm taking Lamar Jackson as my franchise quarterback from the 2018 draft class.
Some solid QBs in there. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, some Lamar Jackson kid. But I do have to go with the non-first round pick of these legends, Mason Rudolph.
Why? What is your reasoning behind that?
Because I like that helmet that one time.
All right, so I think I'm going to have to go with Josh Rosen because Lamar Jackson is just a running back. No, I'm joking. Lamar Jackson, he is unbelievable. He has all the skills. I'm amazed by this guy. I'm actually rooting for him. Like, he's probably my second favorite third favorite quarterback and fourth favorite quarterback in the NFL. I actually really like the guy. So it'd definitely be Lamar Jackson for me.
Yeah, I know we haven't necessarily thought about this probably, and this is one of the more obvious ones, but who would be your second if Lamar Jackson wasn't your choice?
My rankings, Lamar Jackson number 1, Josh Allen number 2, Baker Mayfield number 3, Sam Darnold number 4, Josh Rosen number 5, Mason Rudolph number 6.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I think mine's the same. The hardest thing for me is Baker or Josh Allen. Baker is not immobile. He can move, but Josh Allen's ability to run, I think that, and his size too, I think that puts him over Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and as the league is moving more and more into trying to find the next Lamar Jackson, running has been a great feat to have in a quarterback. You saw it like many years earlier in the decade, as we talked about with Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick revolutionizing the league, and now we have these next set of guys that are like head and shoulders athletically beyond these guys, like Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. They're just unbelievable. Yeah. So I think that's definitely the way that the league is veering.
Mm-hmm.
2019 draft, some solid QBs for the future in this draft. We have Kyler Murray, great player, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, most importantly, Gardner Minshew. But I do have to take Kyler Murray on this one. The potential, and I was about to say kid, but, he's about, 10 years older? I don't know. I can't do math. The potential on this guy, very good. He's pretty mobile. I feel like he has a good future with the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray definitely isn't 10 years older than you, Nick. I don't think he's 25 years old, but I would choose Kyler Murray as well. I see great upside, and if we're doing this in a couple years in the future, I definitely could see either Drew Lock or Daniel Jones being right there with him. But the skill set that Kyler Murray has is unmatched in this draft class, and that's who I'm going to have to choose.
If you're speaking on arm talent, I think that Kyler Murray, although being the smallest quarterback in this draft, probably of the top ones picked, he has the best arm talent. But if we're talking about overall ability, someone that's close, maybe even higher than him in improvisation, is Gardner Minshew.
I knew you were going to do that.
And I'm a big Minshew fan. Minshew mania, it's not just a mania. I think it's something that's going to last. Minshew is a very good quarterback. He's a good leader by all accounts. And his ability to just make something out of nothing is just amazing. And that's why I'm taking Gardner Minshew.
Next up, we're going to go over the coaching hires and such in the NFL. There's 5 teams that needed coaches: Cowboys, Giants, Panthers, Redskins, and Browns. And as the Browns are taking their time after firing Freddie Kitchens, so far the Cowboys have fired Mike McCarthy. Hired Mike McCarthy.
Whoa.
The Giants have hired Joe Judge. The Panthers have hired Matt Rule, and the Redskins have hired Ron Rivera. Who is your favorite hire among those? Dylan Freeman.
Here's a quick plug. I wrote an article for the Fourth and Short website.
fourthandshort.sports.blog.
My first ever article, and it was, in fact, on Matt Rule. And although it was on why the New York Giants should hire Matt Rule, the entire article was really just praising Matt Rule and his ability to rebuild a team, his ability to lead young men and have them buy into his coaching system. And that's why I think Matt Rule to the Carolina Panthers was a very, very good hire.
My favorite hire personally, I can see where you're coming from, Matt Rule. He's one of my favorites as well, but I would have to say Ron Rivera, because I think Ron Rivera is going to take a dismantled and disgruntled Redskins team. He's already made some major classroom changes, not classroom changes, but like same sort of thing, locker room changes. He's going to change the culture, and I think he's the right man to do that. As it was shocking for me that he even got fired, so I definitely think he is head and shoulders beyond. Matt Rule's a rookie coach. It's his first chance, but of the other guys and the guys have experience, I think that Ron Rivera is the best hire.
Yeah, it was really close to me. After thinking about it, after researching about it, Ron Rivera was a very good hire for the Washington Redskins. I was surprised that he went there. I'm sure he had other offers, and it seems like he's really up to the challenge. All those things that Matt Rule has, I believe that to some extent Ron Rivera definitely has, and he's tenured. He's been here for a while. He's coached for the Panthers, very successful there. And he seems to. I watched an interview that he did on Radio 1 DC as suggested or something like that by Zach Schaumler, and he's really got a motivating and military mindset at that. We saw what he did in the locker room, taking away ping pong and stuff like that. He's really getting his guys back in check, and it sounds like he really has confidence in the now second-year quarterback Dwayne Haskins, and I expect him to take a big leap with Ron Rivera at the helm.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy was kind of an interesting hire for me. A lot of people think he is too close to Jason Garrett. There's not anything special getting brought to the table, but he was very good. He had a great quarterback system, and with the Packers, with having Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers, but he developed Aaron Rodgers as a young quarterback. That could help for Dak Prescott, but personally, it's not my favorite hire. We'll see. He said that he was studying analytics in the offseason when he was not hired, but I think he's a good coach, but personally, my favorite is Ron Rivera. And Joe Judge, I guess he was tenured by Nick Saban, recommended by Nick Saban to Bill Belichick, who are really good buddies. So that's always good to get the stamp of approval by two of the GOATs of their coaching areas, and he could be good, but I just don't know enough about him. I'm sure that the Giants fans wanted a bigger name, such as Matt Rule. I think the headline of the New York, I think New York Post, not the New York Times, but the kind of gag one was, we hired Joe Judge, not Matt Rule. So I think a lot of Giants fans are disappointed, but I just don't know enough about him yet. He could turn into the next Sean McVay, the next big coaching hire, but I just don't know yet.
Right, and I want to go down the list of each of the coaches as well. Mike McCarthy, it's not a sexy hire, okay? I'm not knocking it. It's not my favorite, but I don't think it's a bad one. He doesn't necessarily specialize in much of anything. And I don't know. I'm always concerned with a coach who's just had such great quarterbacks. I know he groomed Aaron Rodgers, but it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the Cowboys. I think it was big for Jerry Jones that he still has control. And Mike McCarthy isn't the most vocal person. And I think Jerry Jones is still going to be really just controlling everything with that. And Joe Judge, I don't want to rip the guy, right? Because it's not my place and I don't know anything about him personally. But he's been around great coaches, and I'm not necessarily doubting his ability to coach within, like, schematically and all that. But just what the Giants need, they need a leader. They need someone to build up the confidence and build up the ability of these young players that they have. And that's why I really believe that Matt Rule was really going to be the answer and the clear hire for the Giants. But I just don't think Joe Judge is necessarily up to the challenge to just bring up a distraught organization like the Giants. And yeah,
but you never know with coaches. I agree with you. It's not the best hire for the Giants at this moment. I think they need an established big guy to take control of the young locker room, but you never know.
Right.
We could be talking next time this year about how the coach of the year was Joe Judge, but we literally don't know. But that's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, and I'm a big Daniel Jones fan, and I hope the best for this Giants organization, so I hope that I'm wrong. And I hope this time next year we're like, wow, that was a great hire. I don't think the Giants are really going to make it to the playoffs. If they go 8-8 and Joe Judge, all the players come out loving Joe Judge, that's great. That sounds amazing, but it's confusing to me how they're still talking to Jason Garrett, especially for an offensive coordinator position, where the joke is like they brought in a guy who's younger than the combined ages of me and Mateo to come coach the offense and Kellen Moore because Jason Garrett is just stagnant. And I don't know why the Giants would bring him in to be an offensive coordinator, but I don't know at this point.
Yeah, and during the regular season, it said that there was mutual interest between the Giants and Jason Garrett. That obviously didn't get done in the head coaching spot, but it could be with the coordinator. I don't love it, but it's weird how the Browns just kind of sat back. Oh, we'll wait to see the head guy. The big guys are gone already. We'll wait and sit back, but it's going to be interesting who the Browns go after, having a very young team as well.
Yeah, I guess maybe it'd be Urban Meyer or Lincoln Riley.
That would be – I could see that happening because it's the whole Ohio connection.
But if not that, I really don't know who they're going to get. They'll probably end up taking a coordinator from somewhere. I don't know if Josh McDaniels wants to leave. We'll see what happens with Brady and Belichick and how that sparks something from Josh McDaniels. But what I'm liking, though, it doesn't necessarily connect that much. Seems like Robert Saleh is staying with the Niners. No one's picking him up. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. I was very sad to see that there's 3 49ers coaches rumored in coaching shifts as potential head coaching hires, but I do not think that I hope that Saul doesn't – I feel like he'd rather be a coordinator for the 49ers than a head coach as the Browns, so hopefully it all comes true and it works out. So going back into picks, the last week that we picked, it was week 16. And I was 11-5. Dylan was 7. Oh no, Dylan was 7-9. So now he is 5-6, 45.45% winning percentage. I am 7-6-2, 53.33% winning percentage. And we're just gonna go through the playoff games and who we think we're gonna win. I'll start off with the first game, which is 49ers Vikings. 49ers win in Levi's Stadium, and we shut down Kirk.
Yeah, this is interesting because many people, I'm sure me and Mateo as well, thought we'd end up playing the Seahawks for the third time this season again. But with the Vikings upsetting the Saints, we see the Vikings, and we haven't played them this season, which can be good and can be bad. But obviously, I'm picking my Niners. I'm interested to see how this game turns out.
Kirk Cousins, the whole stereotype around him is he can't compete in the prime time. No wins on Monday Night Football, but he did get a win last week. In the wild card series rather. But I feel like that'll be short lived. I feel like he'll get this loss against the 49ers defense. Quan Alexander most likely returning according to the coaching staff. I feel like this will just be a statement win.
The next game is Titans versus Ravens, and although I can see how some people might think the Titans might come out off of that big Patriots win and have a big game, and I think it could be close, but I think Lamar Jackson having fresh legs, having a fresh arm, I think he is definitely going to come out with the win in this one.
Lamar played very poor last year against the Chargers, but this is not last year's Lamar. This is a more improved Lamar who has more than just running and has enhanced his running ability. I think this is going to be close. There's no part of me that wants to pick the Titans. This will be a close game. I think Tractor Cito, Derrick Henry, will have a little bit of a rough time against this good Ravens front line, but he's going to run well. I am taking the Ravens, though.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to say before Nick makes his pick is that Ryan Tannehill threw for 72 yards last week.
On 15 attempts. You
need a quarterback to beat the Ravens. So.
It's definitely not Mariota, but, you know.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Most likely the MVP. I mean,
definitely the MVP.
Consensus.
Definitely well, yeah.
Except for the racists.
I would bet my whole life. I would bet my house that I don't own that Lamar Jackson's going to win it.
Like Mateo said, fresh arms, fresh legs off the bye week. It'll only be more of an offensive output by Lamar Jackson.
So you're picking them.
So, yes, I'm picking the Ravens.
All right.
No, Titans. No.
Okay.
It's the Ravens.
All right, so the next game is Texans versus Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a lot of doubters saying that he didn't have a great season, and I think he's going to win. He has a home crowd advantage in Arrowhead. The big bye helped him. And the Texans didn't play amazing last game. They were playing the Bills. I think if they're playing almost any other playoff team, they would have lost. So I think I'm picking Patrick Mahomes. And it is another matchup of the 2017 draft pick, so that should be interesting. See how many times that graphic gets brought up and how many times Mitch Trubisky is slandered, even though he's not even participating. But I'm picking the Chiefs.
This is, in fact, a rematch, considering that the Texans and Chiefs did play earlier in the 2019 regular season, with the Texans coming out on top. Yes, and I'm a big fan of Deshaun Watson. This is going to be a quarterback shootout, and, both offenses don't have much else besides, at the running back position. Obviously, wide receivers, the Chiefs are a little more deep. They have more depth, but I think that the Texans are going to pull it out here against the Chiefs.
Am I the only one that thinks that the Texans and Chiefs always play during the playoffs? I mean, it seems like a reoccurring thing, even with Alex Smith with the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs are going to take this one. Patrick Mahomes also coming off of a bye week, just like Lamar Jackson. I feel like, it was a tough game for the Texans, winning in overtime. I feel like that most likely wore them out a little bit. So I think the Chiefs are going to take this one.
Next game is Seahawks versus Packers, and although my mind says Seahawks, I honestly think the Seahawks are going to win. I don't want the Seahawks to win, but I thought that the Seahawks were going to win, but I saw it's going to be a snowy day at Lambeau. The Seahawks have a limited rushing attack, even though they have Marshawn Lynch, who literally 6 rushes, 7. Oh, we didn't even touch on Marshawn Lynch in his monster run, but
he did nothing.
Yeah,
really.
Well, he had a beast mode type touchdown, but otherwise he had 2 yards on 5 other attempts.
Yeah.
But considering the Packers have a much better rushing attack with Aaron Jones, the Seahawks have Homer and Lynch, and also that the Packers, Aaron Rodgers has career-long expertise as playing in snow in Lambeau. I am picking the Packers in this one.
I really think I am going to pick the Packers here. The Seahawks should have won by a lot more against the Eagles with Josh McCown there at quarterback and how poor this Eagles defense played throughout the regular season. I think both the Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers are going to show up. It hasn't been like that very much in the regular season, but when it is, the Packers pull it out, and I think the Packers are going to beat the Seahawks.
While all signs are pointing to the Packers winning this, with weather and everything combined, I still somehow think that the Seahawks might be able to pull this win out.
Of course.
I mean, because, Russell Wilson, anything can happen when he's out there.
Right. And he was a Wisconsin quarterback, so he has experience in the snow.
Well, yeah, but that was also, some number of years ago. But I think that the Seahawks are just going to get this one. Weather, snow, shine, rain, fleet, ski. What? Anyways, yeah. Seahawks win.
All right, now last segment is going to be college football. Some of the big bowl wins were Oregon won the Rose Bowl, beating Wisconsin. Big win after they were down. Georgia beat Baylor 26-14. Minnesota upset Auburn 31-24, and Alabama dismantled Michigan. But in the college football playoffs, which is the big game left, the championship, LSU dismantled Oklahoma. Joe Burrow stat line. Who wants a Joe Burrow stat line? You guys want a Joe Burrow stat line.
Love Joe.
493 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 21 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown. He played unbelievable. And the other game was Clemson, Ohio State. Ohio State was up. They were confident. I thought myself that they were going to win. They were up 16-0, just like the Bills-Texans game. But Clemson came back and won. But I think in the championship game, it is in Louisiana. It's at the Saints Stadium. LSU is popping on offense. I 100% think LSU, Joe Burrow, last career game as a Tiger. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
I think LSU is definitely going to pull off the win. But if you want some cheap betting advice, pick the Tigers in this one. Get it? They're both Tigers. All right. Anyone else want to talk about college football?
Yeah, I'm also going to take LSU here. We did see what just happened to the Saints in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We thought that'd be such a big advantage for them, and they went in and lost the Vikings. Not that that's too much related, but I'm definitely taking LSU. Big Joe Burrow fan, and I think he's going to have another great game. I'm sure that Trevor Lawrence will play well as well, but I'm just taking Joe Burrow here on the LSU.
You know, you can't talk about big bowl games without talking about the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. ASU gets the 20-14 W against Florida State with an 11-0 fourth quarter. That was the biggest game of this entire year. I don't know. Championship, I don't care. ASU got that W, and that's what I'm talking about.
And as you brought that up, I just remembered that I don't remember his name, but the cornerback that had the pick six in the Arizona State game, he went to Pittsburgh High School, so that's a local guy right there. His name is Willie Hartz. So
shout out Willie.
Yeah.
Shout out Willie.
Hey, come on the podcast.
Yeah, come on. We don't know you, but come on.
Come
Yeah,
on.
in that game, I'm actually the fact that you just brought up that game, ASU was playing very poorly in the third quarter, and then they came back in the fourth quarter and had a big time victory. All right, and that is all for Fourth and Short, the weekly assist. My name is Mateo. I hope you enjoyed listening. Like, subscribe. Our goal is 100 subs by the end of the year. Hopefully we can get that done. I think we're around 42 right now.
You mean 100,000?
Oh, yeah, totally.
wow.
All right, so my name is Mateo Reynes.
I am the Dylan Freeman.
I'm Nick Kennealy.
We will see you guys next time.
Love you.
Thank
all.
you. Love you.